Ladies and gentlemen, Sir Nuiko, a pleasant day to you all. It is an honor to be here to present to you our presentation of Article 3, Sections 12 to 22 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution. My name is Katrina Martinez, and I'm going to be your moderator and narrator for this report. For each section that we will be tackling, my group mates will be elaborating them to you each one. In light of this, we know that the Philippine Constitution overrides all law and its people. It's the fundamental thing that holds our nation together, hence why it's so important for us to learn it. So, at this juncture, let's get right into Section 12. Section 12. Any person under investigation for the commission of an offense shall have the right to be informed of his right to remain silent and to have competent and independent counsel, preferably of his own choice. If the person cannot afford the services of counsel, he must be provided with one. These rights cannot be waived except in writing and in the presence of counsel. No torture, force, violence, threat, intimidation, or any other means which vitiate the free will shall be used against him. Secret detention places, solitary, incommunicado, or other similar forms of detention are prohibited. Any confession or admission obtained in violation of this or Section 17 hereof shall be inadmissible in evidence against him. The law shall provide for penal and civil sanctions for violations of this section, as well as compensation to the rehabilitation of victims of torture or similar practices and their families.
So, Section 12 promptly preserves the protection against abuse of power, which ensures the rights and dignity towards individuals under investigation are upheld. This section also guarantees human dignity and fairness during criminal investigation. So here, I will be showing the essence of Section 12 by bullet. Section 12 ensures first, fair treatment. People involved under investigation or the situation must be informed of their right to remain silent. And to have a lawyer present, this surely helps and prevents self-incrimination and supports legal protection amongst one another. Next is no waiver without safeguards. This means that the rule states the person who is involved or under investigation cannot give up their rights, or like the rights that to remain silent or to have a lawyer, which is unless done through written works. It is to guarantee that it is formal and deliberate. It also happens in the presence of a lawyer, which helps the person understand their rights and to be encouraged and not tricked or forced to give up. This safeguard exists from being coerced or misled into wavering their rights unjustly. Next is protection from abuse. This entails that threats, coercions, torture, or any violent reactions are strictly prohibited when it comes to extract confessions. It also remains your self-respect towards humanity. Then we have admissible evidence. This means illegal confessions or obtaining informal statements which are either through force or without proper legal procedures are strictly not used in court. Lastly, we have accountability and remedies. Violators from these rights will surely face legal or official penalties, and victims can of course seek compensation and rehabilitation. So overall, per se, that Article 3, Section 12 established the rights of each individual under criminal investigation are certainly protected. It certifies the right to remain silent, access to lawyer, and prohibits torture and violence, secret detention, and illegal confessions. Section 12 presents fairness, dignity, and justice during investigation.
Thank you so much for that, Ms. Fuentes. At this juncture, Ms. Giles Blanco will be explaining Section 13. Section 13. all persons except those charged with offences punishable by reclusion, perpetual when evidence of guilt is strong, shall, before conviction, be bailable by sufficient sureties, or be released on recognizance as may be provided by law. The right to bail shall not be impaired even when the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus is suspended. Excessive bail shall not be required.
In continuation of our report, which is I am aligned in section 13, I would like to introduce myself first. Hello everyone, my name is Gals D. Blanco and I am from the College of Mass Communication. The right to bail. So section 13 ensures that most people accused of crimes can stay out of jail while waiting for their trial by posting bail or being released under a certain condition. However, those charged with very serious crimes like those punishable by life imprisonment cannot be bailed even if the evidence against them is strong. It also guarantees that bail shall remain fair and accessible even if emergency situations and prevent courts from demanding excessive amounts. If you are committed into serious crimes like killing, bailing is not for you. Guarantee against impairment. So Section 13 protects the right to bail, allowing most people accused of crimes to remain free while awaiting trial as long as they meet the legal condition, like providing sufficient sureties of being released on recognizance. This right does not apply to those charged with extremely serious crimes like those punishable by life imprisonment. If there is strong evidence providing the guilt, even during emergencies when certain rights are suspended, this section ensures the right to bail stays intact, and it prohibits courts from setting bail amounts so high that it becomes impossible for the accused to pay, ensuring fairness for all. Interpretation and importance. Balance of rights. The provision strikes as balance between protecting individuals' liberties, presumptions of innocence and right to freedom, and addressing public safety and justice concerns. Due process assurance. Even in situations where certain legal rights are curtailed, like the suspension of habeas corpus, the right to bail remains intact. Fairness and justice. Prohibiting excessive bail ensures that the justice system remains fair and does not favor only those who are financially privileged. This provision embodies the principles of fairness and equality under the law while addressing the need for security in exceptional cases.
Thank you so much for that, Ms. Blanco. At this juncture, Section 14 will be explained by Mr. Richard Acabal. Section 14, Number 1. No person shall be held to answer for a criminal offense without due process of law. Number 2. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall be presumed innocent until the contrary is proved, and shall enjoy the right to be heard by himself and counsel, to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation against him, to have a speedy, impartial, and public trial, to meet the witnesses face to face, and to have compulsory process to secure the attendance of witnesses and the production of evidence in his behalf. However, after arrangement, trial may proceed notwithstanding the absence of the accused, provided that he has been duly notified and his failure to appear is unjustifiable.
Today I will discuss Section 14 of Article 3. This section outlines the procedural and substantive due process rights of individuals accused of criminal offenses. Section 14 is a fundamental in safeguarding human dignity and ensuring justice by protecting the rights of the accused within the criminal justice system. It prevents abuses by state authorities and guarantees fair treatment of all individuals, regardless of their status, upholding the democratic principle of rule of law. Right to due process. No person can be held accountable for a crime without proper legal procedures being followed. This ensures fairness and justice throughout the legal process. Presumption of innocence. Every individual accused of a crime is presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt. This protects individuals from unjust punishment based on mere accusations. Right to legal consent. The accused has the right to legal representation or the ability to represent themselves, ensuring they can defend themselves effectively. Right to be informed. The accused must be fully informed of the charges against them and the evidence supporting these charges. This allows them to prepare a proper defense. Right to a fair trial. The trial must meet the following standards: speedy, free from undue delays to avoid prolonged detention or uncertainty; impartial. The judgment must be unbiased and fair; public. Trials must be open to the public to ensure transparency. Right to confront witnesses. The accused has the right to question the witness against them and present witnesses who can testify in their defense. Some practical applications include: if a person is arrested for theft, they cannot be detained indefinitely without a formal charge or trial. During a trial, the accused has the right to access the evidence used against them to prepare a proper defense. In cases where the accused fails to appear in court without valid reasons, the trial may continue as long as they were notified. In conclusion, these rights are crucial to ensuring fairness and justice in the criminal justice system. They protect individuals from abuses of power and guarantee that every person accused of a crime is given a fair chance to defend themselves. However, for these rights to be effective, it is important that both the authorities and the accused comply with the legal processes. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Akabal. At this juncture, we will be tackling Section 15, which will be explained by Ms. Isa Torres. Section 15. The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended except in cases of invasion or rebellion, when the public safety requires it.
Good day, everyone. Today, I will be explaining an important provision in the 1987 Philippine Constitution, specifically Section 15 of Article 3, also known as the Bill of Rights. This section deals with the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus, a fundamental legal safeguard that protects individual freedom and ensures that no one is detained unlawfully. First, let's understand what the writ of habeas corpus is. The writ of habeas corpus is a legal action or order that requires a person who is detaining another to bring the detainee before a court or judge. The purpose of this writ is to ensure that no one is held in custody without just cause. It is a fundamental safeguard against unlawful and arbitrary detention. Section 15 of Article 3 states the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended except in cases of invasion or rebellion when the public safety requires it. So let's break this down. First, privilege of the writ of habeas corpus. This means that individuals have the right to challenge their detention in court. It is a protection against illegal imprisonment. Second is non-suspension rule. The general rule is that this privilege cannot be suspended. This underscores the importance of personal liberty and the protection against arbitrary detention. And third, exception. There are only two specific circumstances under which the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus can be suspended. First will be invasion. If the country is under attack by foreign forces, the government may suspend the writ to maintain order and security. And second is rebellion. If there is an armed uprising against the government, the writ may be suspended to address the threat and restore peace. And lastly is public safety requirement. Even in cases of invasion or rebellion, the suspension of the writ is only justified when public safety requires it. This means that the government must demonstrate that the suspension is necessary to protect the public and maintain order. In conclusion, Section 15 of Article 3 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution provides a crucial protection for individual liberty by ensuring that the writ of habeas corpus can only be suspended in very specific and serious circumstances. This provision reflects the balance between safeguarding personal freedoms and addressing national security threats. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Ms. Torres. Next up is Section 16, which will be elaborated by Mr. Alfonso Carpio. Section 16. All persons shall have the right to a speedy disposition of their cases before all judicial, quasi-judicial, or administrative bodies.
Today, I will be presenting Section 16, Article 3 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution. This section addresses one of the most pressing issues in the justice system, which are delays. Now, you may ask, what does this mean? Let's break this down. This section guarantees that all individuals can expect their legal cases to be resolved promptly without unreasonable delays. The section covers three types of legal bodies: judicial bodies, quasi-judicial bodies, and administrative bodies. Judicial bodies, like courts that handle criminal and civil cases. Quasi-judicial bodies, such as the National Labor Relations Commission or the Commission on Elections, that resolve disputes but don't function as traditional courts. And lastly, the administrative bodies, like the Office of the Ombudsman, that deal with complaints involving public officials. The purpose of this section is to address the common issue of delayed justice, which is often criticized as justice delayed is justice denied. It reflects the constitutional principle of due process, ensuring fairness and accountability in all legal proceedings. By highlighting the importance of efficiency in the legal process, it ensures that justice is fair and accessible to everyone. Prolonged delays not only deny justice, but can also increase costs and stress for the parties involved. The provision serves as a safeguard against bureaucratic inefficiency and reminds all legal bodies to prioritize fairness and accountability. Now, how is this applied in real life? The Ombudsman Zero Backlog Program is a direct response to this provision, aiming to speed up the resolution of corruption cases. Also, the e-court system, which was introduced by the Supreme Court, uses technology to digitize records and streamline court operations. For labor disputes, the NLRC ensures cases are resolved within 30 days to protect workers' rights. This section is crucial in maintaining public trust in the justice system. It prevents unnecessary delays that can deny someone their rightful resolution, and this right ensures fairness across levels of judicial, quasi-judicial, and administrative proceedings. While this provision is essential, challenges still remain. The Philippine justice system suffers from judicial backlogs, lack of funding, and limited manpower. Additionally, interpreting what qualifies as speedy can vary, leading to a lot of inconsistencies. In summary, Section 16 emphasizes the importance of prompt and fair justice. While it highlights an ideal, continuous reforms are needed to overcome challenges in its implementation. By improving court processes and addressing systematic inefficiencies, we can uphold this fundamental right for every Filipino. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Carpio. Next up is Ms. Lastimosa, who will be explaining to us Section 17. Section 17. No person shall be compelled to be a witness against himself.
Good day, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, my name is Sir Cristobasa. Now, I shall explain to you Article 3, Bill of Rights, Section 17, the Philippine Constitution, which states that no person shall be compelled to be a witness against himself, is all about. So, before we continue, I shall explain to you the definition, which is the word compelled. So, what does compelled means? Compelled means being forced or obliged to do something or to someone. So keep that in mind, okay? So now, I will give you a short example for you to easily understand this section. Imagine this. A teacher accuses you that you cheated in a math test. She questioned, Mr. Ernest Blanc, did you cheat the test? Here's the catch. You don't need to answer it if it makes you feel guilty or not. Because that's the purpose of Section 17 is. This right safeguards individuals from being forced to testify or provide evidence that may implicate them in criminal wrongdoings. The protection against self-incrimination applies to criminals, civil, and administrative cases, covering both oral testimony and documentary evidence. It means that during judicial proceedings, a person cannot be legally compelled to admit guilt or provide evidence that could directly link them to the commission of a crime. Imagine a banker is on trial, accused of stealing money from the bank. During the court proceedings, the prosecutor asked the manager, will you take the cash from the bank unit? Under the Section 17, the manager has the right to refuse to answer the question. If doing so would admit guilt or provide evidence that could be used against them. They cannot be forced to testify in a way that might detract themselves. The key idea here in this context is compulsion, which signifies that an individual has the right to shield themselves against self-incrimination.
Thank you, Ms. Lastimosa. For Section 18, it will be explained by Mr. Luayan Gador. Section 18. No person shall be detained solely by reason of his political beliefs and aspirations. Number 2. No involuntary servitude in any form shall exist except as a punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted.
Good day, everyone. I will be talking about Section 18, Article 3 of the Bill of Rights in the Philippine Constitution. Now, what does this mean? Political beliefs and aspirations refer to opinions and goals related to governance, policies, and political systems. Here's an example. Imagine you're part of your school student council, and you strongly suggest that the college ought to implement more environmentally pleasant practices, like recycling packages and decreasing plastic use. You arrange campaigns, create posters, and keep conferences to speak about those ideas. Now, consider if the college administration decided to detain you or punish you just because of your advocacy for those environmental regulations. Section 18 protects you from such moves. You have the right to express your political beliefs and work towards your aspirations without worrying about being detained or punished for your ideals. This section guarantees that students like you can freely suggest effective changes for your school or network. Next, it states that no involuntary servitude in any form shall exist except as a punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. Involuntary servitude means forced labor or service without consent. Think about the work of a maid. Imagine if an employer decided that all their employees must clean the entire house every day without any choice or payment. This situation would be considered involuntary servitude and is prohibited by Section 18. Now, consider a scenario where someone was caught vandalizing someone's property, like spray painting walls. After a fair legal process, they are required to clean up the damage as a part of their punishment. This is allowed because their actions are considered lawful punishment, meaning the person has been found responsible for wrongdoing through a proper process. In other words, Section 18 of Article 3 in the 1987 Philippine Constitution protects you from two main things: freedom from detention for political beliefs, meaning you can't be arrested just because of your political opinions, and protection from forced labor. You can't be forced to work against your will, except for a crime you've been convicted of through a fair process. This section highlights the importance of individual rights and freedoms.
Thank you so much for that insightful report, Mr. Gadar. Now we are at Section 19, which will be reported by Mr. Stephen Ilumbaring. Section 19, Number 1. Excessive fine shall not be imposed, nor cruel, degrading, or inhuman punishment inflicted. Neither shall death penalty be imposed, unless for compelling reasons involving heinous crimes. The Congress hereafter provides for it. Any death penalty already imposed shall be reduced to reclusion perpetua. Number 2. The employment of physical, psychological, or degrading punishment against any prisoner or detainee, or the use of substandard or inadequate penal facilities under subhuman conditions shall be dealt with by law.
Good day, everyone. Today, I'll discuss Article 3 Bill of Rights, Section 19 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution. This section emphasizes human treatment in the justice system, even for individuals convicted of crimes. Now, let's break this down step by step. Number 1. Prohibition of excessive fines. This means that penalties imposed by courts must be proportional to the severity of the offense. For example, if a minor offense like jaywalking incurs an extremely high fine, it would violate Section 19. Number 2. Ban on cruel and inhuman punishment. Practices like torture, solitary confinement under extreme conditions, or other degrading treatments are strictly prohibited. This ensures the dignity of individuals even those serving their sentences. Number 3. Death penalty limitations. The death penalty is allowed only for heinous crimes like terrorism or murder, and only with explicit congressional approval. Furthermore, any previously imposed death penalty is reduced to reclusion perpetua, ensuring respect for human life. Number 4. Humane treatment in detention. This section mandates adequate and humane prison facilities. It prohibits subhuman conditions that degrade detainees or prisoners, ensuring they are treated with basic dignity. Okay, now examples for better understanding. Imagine a court imposes an excessively high fine on a person caught jaywalking. That would be a violation of this section as the punishment does not match the offense. Consider a prisoner being subjected to physical or psychological abuse. Section 19 avoids this type or prohibits this type of punishment outright. Lastly, the death penalty can only be applied for heinous crimes and only if Congress explicitly allows it. Without this approval, imposing the death penalty is unconstitutional. So, why is this important? Section 19 ensures that the justice system remains fair and humane, balancing accountability with respect for human rights. It reflects adherence to international human rights standards and emphasizes rehabilitation over retribution. I'm Stephen Medek Ilumbaring. Thank you.
Thank you for your report, Mr. Ilumbaring. Now moving on to Section 20, it will be explained by Mr. Michael Mango. Section 20. No person shall be imprisoned for debt or non-payment of a poll tax.
So, good morning everyone. So for today, I'm going to discuss about the Article 3 Bill of Rights, Section 20 of the Philippine Constitution. So, it means that no person shall be imprisoned for debt or non-payment of a poll tax. So first, what is debt and poll tax? So debt is money owed by a person to another party due to a contractual agreement. And a poll tax, a fixed amount of tax imposed on individuals regardless of their income or resources. So this section ensures that people cannot be jailed just because they cannot pay a debt or poll tax, and it protects personal freedom and prevents punishment for being unable to pay. So, however, it only applies to civil debts and poll taxes, not to criminal cases like fraud or contracts broken. So this section is important because it protects the basic right to freedom and prevents unfair punishment for being poor. It supports the Constitution's goal of respecting human dignity and fairness, making sure poverty doesn't cause unjust imprisonment. So for example, if this is a creditor, A creditor cannot sue to imprison a debtor who defaults on a personal loan or credit card payment. Another is someone who fails to pay the community tax certificate will not face jail time but might incur administrative penalties. So this provision highlight the Philippine Constitution emphasis on human rights and ensuring economic struggles do not result in the loss of liberty. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Mangong. Now we're down at section 21, which will be elaborated by Mr. Dave Tuko. Section 21. No person shall be twice put in jeopardy of punishment for the same offense. If an act is punished by a law and an ordinance, conviction or acquittal under either shall constitute a bar to another prosecution for the same act.
Good day. My name is Dave Bernard Tokop, and today I will be discussing the Article 3, Section 21 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution, which is about the protection against double jeopardy. So this provision ensures that no person can be tried or punished twice for the same offense. Once a person has been acquitted or convicted and the case is resolved with finality, so they cannot be prosecuted again for the same act or crime. So this is a fundamental right that promotes fairness in the justice systems and protect the individuals from being subjected to repeated legal actions for the same offense. So additionally, the law addresses a situation where an act violates both national and local ordinance. So in such cases, if a person is convicted or acquitted under one, and they cannot be prosecuted under the other. So for example, if someone is tried under a local ordinance for an act and acquitted, they cannot face another trial for the same act under national law. So this provision serves as a safeguard against harassment and ensures legal proceedings are conducted fairly and justly. So, Article 3, Section 21 is a crucial safeguard in protecting individuals' rights and maintaining trust in the justice system. So, by ensuring that no one can be twice put in jeopardy for the same offense, the Constitution upholds fairness, prevent abuse, and reinforces the rule of law. So, it is a clear expression of the balance between accountability and rights of individuals in a democratic society. So, I guess that's all for Article 3, Section 21. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Tukop. Last but not the least, we are down to Section 22, which will be elaborated more by Mr. Silvan Manuba. Section 22. No ex post facto law or bill of attainder shall be enacted.
Hey everyone, today I'll talk about Article 3, Section 22 of the Philippine Constitution. This section of the law is there to protect people from being punished for things that were not crimes when they did them. Let's break it down. This section focuses on two things: no ex post facto laws and no bill of attainder. An ex post facto law is a law that makes something illegal after it has already been done. It's like saying you're guilty now for something that wasn't a crime before. For example, let's say you smoke a substance when it was still legal, and after a few years, the law changes and smoking becomes illegal. You can't be punished for something that you did back then because it wasn't against the law at that time. This rule protects people from being surprised or punished by sudden changes in the law. It ensures fairness because the government can apply new laws for future actions, not for things people did in the past. Now, let's talk about bills of attainder. A bill of attainder is when the government makes a law that directly punishes a person or a group without a trial. In short, it's like being declared guilty without even stepping into the court. For example, imagine a company's owner are accused of not paying taxes. If the government passes a law saying these owners must go to jail without giving them a chance to defend themselves, that would be unfair. This rule is important because it makes sure that only courts can decide if someone is guilty. Courts follow due process, which means they listen to both sides, check the evidence, and ensure a fair trial. These rules are important because they protect everyone from unfair treatment, and it makes sure that people aren't punished for something that wasn't illegal when they did it. No one is punished without a proper trial. However, some people think banning ex post facto laws can be a problem, especially with new issues like cybercrimes. For example, if a new type of online scam is discovered, lawmakers can't go back and punish scammers who did it before the law was made. But remember, this rule only applies to criminal laws. Laws about rights and responsibilities, like paying taxes or following regulations, can sometimes apply to the past as long as they don't involve criminal punishment. In conclusion, Article 3, Section 22 is about fairness. It ensures that laws don't punish people unfairly or without a proper process. It protects us from sudden changes in law and guarantees that courts, not lawmakers, decide if someone is guilty. This makes sure that the law is fair for everyone no matter what.
Now that you've heard our reports from sections 12 to 22 of Article 3 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution Bill of Rights, here is our collective conclusion. Sections 12 to 22 of Article 3, in its entirety, aim to safeguard our rights during legal and judicial processes. It emphasizes protection against the abuse of authority. It ensures due process and upholds the rights of those who are accused and those who fall victims. That everything we do in this country has a proper judicial legal process when it is being dealt with. Without this Bill of Rights, we wouldn't have the security and stability in handling legal proceedings or protecting all those who fall under the court. These provisions ensure that the Constitution's commitment to justice, fairness, and the dignity of every Filipino under the rule of law is superlative. With that, we hope you've learned a lot from us. We appreciate your time in listening to our presentation.